Next, I have my graph editor. The graph editor probably looks a little weird right now because it's got this green line and this blue line and this big graph, and you really can't tell what's happening. So for starters, I'm going to hover my mouse over the graph editor and press the F key on my keyboard, F for frame. And now I can see the lines in a little more detail. This blue one is this nice kind of swooshy curve, and this green one looks almost like a straight line, but not quite. It's got a little bow. On the side of the graph editor, I can see that what I'm looking at is my P torus. If I deselect, you'll see that goes away. When I reselect, it comes back. The P torus has two animated channels, so I've only got two attributes available. This is translate X, and that is the actual translate Y graph. Here is rotate Z, and that is the rotate Z graph. And if I click back on P torus, I can see them both together. If I go to the translate Y graph, here's what's happening. At frame 1, my torus is at 0. I'll just reset X and Z so that you can see that the torus is at the origin at frame 1. If I read along the graph, at frame 12, the torus ascends to this point. By frame 24, it descends to this point. The graph in the graph editor is always going to be change on this axis over time on this axis. So this is duration, this is change. The closer together the keyframes are, the faster the change will happen. So now the torus will shoot up really quickly and then kind of float down more gradually. So the less space between keyframes, the faster the action. The more space between keyframes, the slower the action. And I can make that change very simply by using the graph. To move this keyframe, what I'm doing is I am middle mouse dragging. If I hold my shift key down and middle mouse drag, that will let me move along one axis. If I just middle mouse drag, I can move freely across all the axes. You can also use your move tool and then left click and drag, but that's fancy for you kids. When I was your age, we only had a middle click, so I'm a middle clicker. But you're young and your brains are adaptable. If you want, you can use the move tool and left click and drag. The graph in the graph editor is a Bezier graph. And a Bezier graph is really useful because a Bezier graph has these things called handles. So in addition to changing the graph itself, changing this keyframe, I can change the Bezier handle. And as I do that, I'm changing the tangency of the curve. So now, even though my keyframe is here, the torus is actually going to go up a little bit higher than what the keyframe is, then come down, meet this point, descend, and it'll actually bounce back up a little because my graph is rather extended. So that's fun. Bezier handles allow you to make 2-point changes to all of your curves, and that's great. I will pause the video here, leaving you with these concepts, and when I get back, I'll start talking about some of these icons and some of the other things that we can do with Bezier handles that make them incredibly useful for animators.